right, so
So,
let's talk about some music for. I don't even want to say a little bit. It will be for a good
yeah,
while, right? So before I bring in, our special guest Randerson Beckett, to share his top 15 best albums list, and before I share my top 15 best albums list as well, yeah, Ricardo, take it away. Share your how much?
yeah, I only have like about a handful of tracks, just a handful of stuff. But mostly it's just like music for the year, but nothing major. I only
Right.
have like about six or seven, nothing really super thing. But it's just lists, the list you know. But it's two or three things that was I think was just kind of off everybody lists.
Right.
So that is it. And I actually listened to something this week. And I was like, I had to add it. So like, all right. So it's kind of the obvious list for me. It's the stuff I was hyping for the year. So yeah, first best of the year. This is just my music for the year. I have no bad music for the year. I have no hating on Kanye or any of that bullshit. I just didn't
I
listen to it.
do slight spoiler.
Yeah, I don't worry to like get into hating anything. Just like whatever. I'm not listening to it. Kanye had his album. I heard that was really bad. Didn't worry. Didn't waste my time. Yeah.
It
So
was. It
that's
was.
yeah, my best of the year. So stuff just would obviously the not really in particular order, but I'll probably mention the stuff I like the most last, right? So Aphrodisiac 2 by Afro. All Frolos Reach Out.
Okay.
I love this kid. I love this dude. This dude is just the exact type of rapper I like. He and he's so young too, and he just doing his stuff for a little while now. He just on fire, especially his
I've been so far behind on this work for years, and I feel bad
yeah.
though. But I
All
really
of his stuff on YouTube, you could just get quick. But this dude's a real talent in my opinion. I really, really want to see his career go forward. He has a track called, with Doom the Wiz. That is probably my favorite song, one of my favorite songs of the year. Doom the Wiz, the Afro remix. And he starts it off with this really strong verse and then ends it off with this really great verse. It's him, Doom the Wiz, and I forget the other rapper on it. But it's really going for him. That is it. This one is jazz music. Berlioz. Just general Berlioz. Not the album, just Berlioz. Yeah, look up them. Great jazz musician right now. Just loving his stuff. Another rapper who's like a kind of nerdy rapper up and coming, a guy called Miss. Well, MISC. Well, miscellaneous. That's supposed for short. Just recommend this guy's stuff. He had a couple of like great tracks coming for the year, and I just was like really really vibing his music for the year. LL Cool J. Really liked his album this year.
Yeah, The Force. Love that.
The Force, yeah. Great stuff. He had that one great track we're talking about.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. But he had that one great track with him talking about it being born, but he's like a Super Saiyan being born. Like that's just such great imagery.
That's the final song. Yeah. And that
that's
cut, by the way. Those three cats, I forgot the names right now. Yeah, they killed it with their verses.
Yep. Surprise, it made it to the list, but even though you cannot take a L this year, a little bit, not a big L, but kind of an L. J. Cole, right? My Delete Later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mostly because of Ready 24. Ready 24 completely like it's an alright album, and yeah, I know you had to delete the diss track, blah blah blah, all of that. I get into that for now.
Yeah.
But the Ready 24 just really held this together. It's such a great track. There's the old homage to I'm Ready, and he brought back Cameron. This was just like when he did the Styles P homage, My Life. He did a homage to, it's just like that, just big homage thing. SZA and Kendrick 30 for 30.
I have not listened to anything from. Sorry, I haven't listened to the SZA album.
It just came out
since yesterday.
It just came out anytime it is recorded. But
I know.
Just look, if you do a callback, I just do that callback like much like how he do I'm Ready. He do a callback while they do the same sample for Throw Them D's. Throw the D's is one of my favorite rich boys selling crack.
Of course. Sure.
Yeah. So that's a classic for me. And they just use that beat like magnificently with this amazing thing. So it's that. And then of course talking about Kendrick, GNX. Didn't love it as much. Don't love it as much of his albums, but just really dug the hell out of this thing, and it just works so well. And just extra. And then overall as a feud. The feud, Drake and Kendrick's feud as a whole, like just that whole thing, which is the event of thing. This is Kendrick's year. A lot of people rating Kendrick as one of the greats simply because of this year. Kendrick 24 is kind of like Nas 94 or 50 or 3 or something like that, right? Like that's how I really feel about like this This just really was his year. Really a damn strong year coming up. And just him taking on, arguably the biggest artist in a long time with Drake, right?
That's
You know,
right.
Drake in terms of raw numbers, you have to acknowledge Drake is really that guy, right? From raw numbers, you don't have to like him culturally or his style, or you could say he's a Kakashi Drake, but Drake really did the numbers, and for Kendrick to do what he did to him, and yeah, that whole, like, to me, the end of the whole thing with him, just lawsuit thing, just really make, to me, this was such a bad look for Drake. Like, if Drake just stay quiet and he would have go away, it would have be like, yeah, okay, take L and he move on. But that lawsuit thing, just such a bad look. And I want to see how that will play out there, but it's so interesting. But yeah, the feud is just an event, just a fantastic, amazing event. Yeah, and then the last three, Micwise, Son of the Soil, his album was excellent.
Family Tradition. Yep.
Yeah. Just really, really excellent stuff. And yeah, just solid. It's solid. I wasn't like super loving it, but it's more like just repeated tracks growing on me over time. I didn't enjoy it I'm not saying enjoy it. I just didn't listen to it enough to sit down with it. But when, as usual, I had to give it a walk when I go and go buy cans or something like that to buy, or go buy a beer. And when you give it a walk and you walk with it and you sort of real vibe, it's like, yeah, the album real grown me. Number two. This one, top two, and then the obvious is the number one. But number two, Lupe Fiasco Samurai. I mean,
of course.
This album just takes so much airtime and repeat playing so me dread. Easily some of my favorite tracks. Samurai itself, but the number one headband. Classic. Classic for me. Again, so many repeats. Just running through.
A moment that will stay with me for this year was noticing the title of the song being Number One Headband, and seeing on Facebook, of course, he has a track called Number One Headband.
Yeah,
and the video drops, I tag you on it, and you like hours later, you just quoting a line, a couple lines.
Yeah, and I heard like that's truly fantastic, truly fantastic track. This track just really repeat to me, and then knowing the nature of the album and what it's about, and how it related to what's your name,
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, right? Yeah, Amy Winehouse. There's a whole history about Amy Winehouse is a real mensch, right? She was great. Like a lot of other rappers reference her. I think she has a great song about Nas. Like that, right? Like it's all these little. She could have easily.
Nas did I've got the name of the song, but she was on a Nas song, and it was
right.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And then Nas, she has a song about Nas. Like it's a song she's singing, and it's about him, Mr. Jones, or something like that. It's about Nas apparently. Like, it's all these things, and she could have easily been a rapper, like from what I understand, and she would have been great. Last but not least, and it's obvious, the Auditorium Volume 1, Common and Pete Rock.
Of course.
That album is so effing good. There's so many great samples. Pete Rock is like kind of a weird genius when it comes to his samples. Like, so take for example one of the my personal favorite song and one of the better songs, the song they released. Well, one of the tracks they released, which was the Ivan Lynn sample, right? Fortunate, right?
Yes,
he does this brilliant
vocal flip though. What?
Yeah. It's Ivan Lynn's, right? It's this great like Ivan Lynn's Brazilian song, right? But the song, when you listen to the line is not to do it. It's the it's the Portuguese version of Fountain, right?
Okay.
And so it's that. But what they do with it is such a weird like conceit now. And he does this great flip, these brilliant flips in his own right. And it's always catch you off guard. Yes. Like it's just really, really solid stuff. But the whole album, just dude, I really, really hope they win the Grammy for this. Like they really deserve it. Pete Rock is a man who just doing it for years, Common doing it for years. And this is just excellent hip hop. Easily my favorite album for the year. A ton of repeats. Thoroughly dug it, because it felt like, and it came out right after the Kendrick feud, right?
Yes.
So it felt like I kind of reset almost, like I kind of hip hop healed it, like it's kind of thing. And look, I am very biased in the Kendrick feud because to be the right guy won. Like I always had that feeling. Shout out to because somebody I really follow it, and I want to like model our show after his show right now. Rap Latte, Toure.
Rap Latte. Okay.
Yeah, look up Rap Latte. So it's Toure from back in the days. If you know Toure X, right? This dude, he have his own like kind of podcast thing, and he have a big presence on YouTube now, and he like the algorithm really pushing him up. But he has had some really solid takes over the last few months. In my humble opinion, he's a old head. Yeah, he's a Gen Xer, but he really, really great takes, and he had somebody who I've been really, really growing to like over the years. This is FD Signifier to talk about hip hop, and they had some great talks. But I just want to be like how they doing it. Like shout out to Toure. He has had a really solid takes on the Kendrick stuff. He's been following the Jeezy stuff. He has been like, he a lot of great takes on the all the thing. And he had a Substack I've been following for a while. So I've been following him since the days of back on MTV and BT or whatever it is, right? Back in those days. But he has a really great presence now, and I really digging his material. Rap Latte is probably one of my favorite new shows out now. Recommend that. But yeah, that's my music for the year. Nothing super. Didn't spend too much time on that stuff. Mostly because I was writing and I had my head down. But yeah, solid.
Right. All right. So as Ricardo takes a little breather here, I'm gonna bring in, a good, hip hop critiquing colleague of mine, Randerson Crash Beckett, to come through to share. What will be now basically, for the first time in BBB Radio history, our top 15 favorite albums of the year, man. Because as much as we wanted to do 20 and 25, boy, this year was like, here's what there's just so much projects, boy, that we might as well just break it down to like a nice number. And 15 is a nice number, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel I'm kind of getting punished for not doing anything last year, because with last year I had like a bunch of stuff I wanted to do, but it felt, for some reason, like I was championing the same artists over and over, and some of the music I thought, to their standard, it just was just lay flat. So it feel like if I'm picking up stuff that I know the people who put out that could have done a lot better on, with the exceptions of a few, because I really enjoyed that Killer Mike album that dropped last year.
Oh, Michael, Michael was great. That was in my top 5. It was in my top 5. Yeah.
That would have been my number one. But the thing is, in my top 5 would have been Doughboy, who is one of Features artists, and that has been one of the most ignorant albums I listened to last year. But the beat flips are just funny.
Right. So, remember what the name of the project is? I
think that was Doughboy OBZ.
Okay. I may have like seen it, like glimpsed at it or something like that. I think I didn't know, but nah, I didn't like listen to that.
Because I think during the year, I think I told you, like, the 2 best produced albums I heard for the year were Michael from Killer Mike and OBZ from Doughboy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we're in 2024, so.
Yes, we are 2020. Well, I should say 2024 is almost done, right? So, here we are going to talk about the best of the best, right? Mm-hmm. Keep that year in mind, though, because I have a little surprise to drop for you all, right? As far as, this year goes, right? Also, my particular list is going to mark a particular milestone, just something that's never happened before, as far as just me counting on my favorite albums go, right? But we'll get to that later on, right?
Yeah.
So before we get to honorable mentions now, allow me just to share just a couple of what are, in my opinion, the worst rap albums, or I should say worst albums of the year. Forgive me for this.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
It's kind of obvious what it is, why, but I don't know. Like just quick little context here. I know he's your boy. Yeah? I know he's your boy, Randerson. Mm-hmm. I know he's your boy, yeah? But but the person that he decided to work with was Wee Boy as well as a point in time. But like over the past couple of years, he just sort of fell off by. After that, we just got these 2 records here, and I'm just here like, boy, we really could have gotten better out of this, man.
Yeah.
Vultures 1 and 2.
The Kobo albums.
Yes. Vultures 1. Where can I begin, boy? Ty Dolla $ign. I know that's your boy, yeah?
Yes,
I was pushed to the side because Kanye just had to be all up in front and doing that and singing a bunch of shit like Sky, bitches all from the sky, and that's him. And that, like, when I hear that, this was Carnival Tuesday, like I just hear relaxing, settling down from Carnival. I just hearing Sky, like, what the fuck is this? What?
I think I'd laugh at that song because I'd get the reference, but oh gosh, it gets insufferable really quick.
Yeah, the rapping was bad, the production was sloppy, and it was just Kanye just being in everybody's face, and I felt like he pushed Ty Dolla $ign to the side there, because I cannot remember a single lyric that man spit on that, I just remember Kanye and his antics, right? And it's the point that the man even had to put his now ex-wife in the cover and all, to like, boy.
I know it was a marketing tragedy. All the antics, and even listening, I was like, okay, is Ty on this song?
I know, right? Where
he
was
probably
Ty? I did not hear this. I didn't hear him. I know he was there, but I didn't hear him, right? Now, to be fair, Vultures 2 is a slightly better album, right? I heard Ty more. Kanye was a little bit more focused, but still some of the beats was just so mediocre. There was one track, I forgot the name of it, right? Where he had to bring his daughter onto it, boy. And like, plus, if you want to torture somebody, like if you want to legit torture somebody for 2.5 minutes,
I know the
play
one.
that song.
I know the one.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And I actually feel more sorry for Tyja, because like I understand why he's there, boy, but like, nah, you should have been on a better project than this, boy. Kanye was just creatively just unfocused with this, boy. It was just throwing a bunch of shit on a playlist and saying, look, that's my album. I think we were supposed to get the third one this year, but I know I think what happened was that Drake and Kendrick sucked the air out of the room, so that's why we couldn't get Vultures 3, boy. But sorry, them two albums were the worst of the year. So agree to disagree.
I agree. Because after Vultures 1, I was like, you know what? I didn't take in Vultures 2. Because of all the whole releasing strategy and whatnot, I actually just tuned out. I didn't care anymore. And worse yet, that Kanye like that remix.
Oh yeah, boy.
That made me not want to listen to Vultures 2 at all at any point. I was like, that energy on. Okay, I'm good. I could do without it.
Yeah. Right. So and I should also mention too, just one more worst thing I want to mention too. Worst song of the year. It's actually not a surprise too, boy, but I will lie. This song actually delivered probably the best line I have heard all year, though. Grippy, Cash Cobain, and J. Cole.
Hey, Grippy, it's funny.
First, I don't know if I should laugh at it, if I should take it seriously. I don't know, boy. It's parody rap, right? It had to be, because even J. Cole and all was just like, fuck it, I just gonna like half-ass my verse and I just gonna talk shit, right? But
all right, in J. Cole's defense, that it's within Cash Cobain's lane. Like just say,
okay,
if none of this, the little beef and whatnot didn't happen, yes, I would still clown this song, but it'll be in J. Cole's lane of, I will work with a rapper nobody expect me to work with and jump into their zone. This whole thing about trying to keep sharp in the different avenues of where rap is going, rap rel diverting into these different subgenres and whatnot. So you have your sexy drill with Cash Cobain. The thing is, the hook is crappy. The whole fact that we still could laugh at it means we got some entertainment value out of it.
We did, boy.
Entertainment value out of it.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, boy, but this delivered for me one of the best lines I have heard all year. So let me just read it off of Genius. Shout out to Genius.
Yeah,
Marnie.
Genius.
Marnie. I don't want to talk about Marnie. I don't think I should talk about Marnie. Fuck it, I'm going to talk about Marnie. That is the best thing I hear from the whole year, Dread. That's the best bars I have heard all year. I don't want to talk about Marnie. That's it. Talk done. Go to lyrics of the year. That's it right there. Marnie, right? That's it right there.
I would.
First time I hear that, I was on the floor laughing, Dread. That's like one of the funniest things I hear from in my life, Dread. But yes, I am being sarcastic, folks. This is some of the worst bars I've heard all year. But that particular moment was like, all right, this song is special. This song have something special.
Oh my!
But yeah, any more thoughts on Grippy?
No, but we will talk about J. Cole later on in the video. And very funny lines.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Right, so that was the bad, right? So I had to get the bad out of the way, right? So I'm just gonna run through, honorable mentions quickly, and then you're gonna share yours, right?
Yeah.
So forgive me, because we're doing 15 here.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of big albums in the sense that, they will show up on a lot of people's best of lists or like Variety or Pitchfork, whatever it is. But yeah, sorry, boy, when it compared to the 15 that I have on my list here, boy, yeah, sorry, I had to make these honorable mentions, right? But that's not to say that they are not great albums or great projects nonetheless, right? So again, forgive me if some of your favorites show up on my honorable mention list, right? K-Tronada, Timeless.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, boy. I really wanted this to be there, boy, and I had a lot of fun listening to that record, boy, but couldn't crack the top 15, boy.
Yeah,
Micwise and Hard to See, Outside Interference. Benny the Butcher, Everybody Can't Go. Mark Homie, Rich Ass Haitian.
Ooh, I missed that one.
Oh,
I was trying to figure out when it dropped. I think I had a hint on when it dropped, and I just never got the time to go and take it in.
Right. Throwing in a couple of EPs here. Lendor, Rocking, and DJ Kawan, the Requiem EP. Tanashi, Match My Freak EP. So, outside the fact that I didn't get a chance to listen to the album itself, right? Why I really dug this EP, right, is that it took Nasty, right? Now, these days when it comes to single releases, right?
Yeah.
You have the sped up version, you have the chopped version, you have the slowed up, the slow version. But what I love about this EP was that she was able to reach out to some producers. So they just did their own take on the slowed and on the chopped and on the sped up versions of what you'd expect from Nasty, right? And those remixes were hard though. Like they just slapped so hard though. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Like this is what you need to do. Don't just speed up a song and like we hear it before. We hear the sped up version, we hear the slow down version, but this one is like, we're gonna do something completely different, right? And yeah, it was a fantastic EP, right? It's just I'm feeling bad that I did not get a chance to listen to the album itself, right?
The album was good. I'll give it that. The album was really good because Tanashi has been putting in a lot of work for the past few years. She's been dropping consistently, even though they don't really get big pushes. She has been dropping consistently. So I'm glad, even though she would also be in my honorable mentions, but I'm glad she did get some pushback into the limelight with a couple of those projects this year. So that was good to see from her.
Right. Conway the Machine by Slant Face Killer.
Oh, yes.
Again, Conway showing why he is probably the most consistent rapper in Griselda right now. Or I should say, even though he's doing his own thing with drum work, like he is still Griselda in my eyes, right? But yeah, that man came through with a fantastic project with Slant Face Killer. But I was like, what? This man like really cooking with this, right?
Was that song he had with Currency?
Yeah, boy. The song he had with Joey Badass. Holy shit.
Oh, yes.
Holy shit. That was some grimy.
The hook on that.
Yeah, boy. Like
the hook on that.
Joey, that's you?
Song? Yeah.
Like Joey, that's you, Dre. Like, okay, bro. I'm sorry. I'll leave you alone. I'm sorry. Yeah. Forgive me for this, boy, but this one hurt my boy. Vince Staples, Dark Times.
Oh.
Yes, his final outing with Def Jam, boy, when the man went out on a high note with it, boy, just so introspective, boy, so deep, so emotional with it, though. Yeah, the man just really ended off his tenure with Def Jam on a high note with Dark Times. So really enjoyed that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce, Cowboy Carter.
Yep.
Yeah, wanted this to be on my top list, but didn't get a chance, right? I did not enjoy that as much as Renaissance, but in terms of what it is she did, in terms of just taking country and just saying, look, black people can do country too, here we go, and she just did it in the way that she does it with this sprawling epic album. She managed to get a great duet with Miley Cyrus of all people, and it slapped. Like it worked. It actually worked. She put me on to Shabuzi. I was like, who's this Shabuzi? I listened to this like, okay, that's Shabuzi. All right, I'll go check out your work. She get a great duet out of Post Malone. Like we always like to talk about him as a culture vulture. Like, nah, the man like did his damn thing now. You know what I mean? So
we could say Beyonce made Post Malone pay reparations.
Exactly. But yeah, she really came into her own with this, though. She really she gave the genre justice, right? And it's just due, right? And this is coming from somebody who don't even I respect country music, but it's not something that I seek out to. Like I know,
it's
when it
not
comes
go to genre.
exactly. Like I know, when it comes to modern country these days, you look to like a guy like Jelly Roll or Shabuzi or something like that. Though, but I felt like Beyonce was like, look, like really take notice of country. Like there's some real stuff going on in here, and yeah, she really killed it with that, right?
Yeah.
Couple more I just want to throw in here. After shouting my boy D1 with From the Hood to Harvard. Yeah, this was probably my favorite project from this guy in a long while, Dread. And I just love what he was doing throughout this year, just pretty much just disrupting the rap scene. Just just pretty much just saying, look, like we need to get off this drug stuff. We need to get off this violent stuff. Like I know it's entertainment, but lives are being lost here, Dread, and we really need to speak up against it, right? Yes, it pisses off people like Joe Budden and and Rick Ross and them, but for me, as somebody who has been siding with this guy since 2011, I felt like this was the time to say what he had to say, right?
Yeah.
But with that record, what I love though is that because he teaches at Harvard University right now, right? Because he was a teacher before. He was a I think it was a high school teacher before he transitioned to rap, right? I just love the fact that he's still the underdog, right? He still know he have a lot to do with his life and with his music and whatnot, right? So even though he is in this big position in his life, it's like, look, like the struggle still continues on, right? I love how he embodies that in that record, right?
And last but not tables.
Sorry?
Remember, he said he flipping tables. So.
Yeah. He has a podcast called Flipping Tables, and that's very appropriate, right? The name of it, right? Yeah. And last but not least, an album that I know that will show up in a lot of best rap albums of the year lists. But for me, I got into this one a little too late, boy. But still, I had to show respect where respect is due, boy. Schoolboy Q, Blue Lips. Yep, wanted to put this in my top 15, boy, but I just got into that one a little too late, right? But yeah, boy, this was like the comeback album we were waiting for years, and the man came true, boy. The man teamed up with folks like Freddie Gibbs. That song with him and Freddie Gibbs, love that beat flip on the third part of the song, boy, and especially with Gibbs hook, run it up there, bitch, run up there, bitch. Like I love that. That's the kind of shit I could write to, right? But Q really show his maturity, his growth and whatnot, because he's not young anymore, right? But the man still show that he have it lyrically with the beat choices and whatnot, and the collabs as well too. And the man really showed that he could like he's up there as one of the best artists right now with in TDE, right? Even though Kendrick left to do his own thing, right? But more on Kendrick later, right? I'm gonna stop there. So yes, as I take a little breath here, Randerson, your honorable mentions.
All right, my honorable mentions will be short because I have some on the list here and some that I remember offhand because it's a lot of projects we went through and some we missed. One of my honorable mentions, and I hate it had to be an honorable mention, not on the list, is West Side Guns, Still Praying.
Ah, boy. I did not listen to that, boy, and I'm feeling bad because I'm a West Side fan, man.
The thing is, I almost missed it, so I had to make sure to list it. And the thing is, that had one of the best posse cuts I have heard in a long while from Griselda.
Oh, you mean better than the one on the end of 10?
Well, that one was hard to top. But the thing is, I'll say this one is like it up there with that one. With Stove God, because it was first was West Side and Conway, then you have Stove God coming and you have like Boldy James thing and you have Benny coming down to but that project was cool. I'm glad West Side Gun still putting up stuff. All the Griselda boys still putting up stuff, but unfortunately didn't meet the criteria I was looking for this year. Maybe in Nirvana by Smino, very smooth album. Cool instrumentals on the Maybe in Nirvana from Smino. To go down into what the album is directly about, I wish I had more time with it. But from the sonics and the sound, it's a really easy listen. So I will be diving back into that. This is the next one that kind of hurts that it end up in honorable mentions. Glorious from Glorilla.
Ooh, did not get to listen to that though. But
was
I mean, yeah, Glow. I love that song, and
was
I just love her voice too. Just that gruff kind of
yeah,
southern shit. I love that.
accent
Yeah,
and like and I'll this is really funny to me. Sexy Red is easier to listen to next to Glorilla.
true. Mhm. I know people
Because
just talk shit about Sexy Red, but she doing her thing. I can't be
and
mad
it's
at her.
trying to and it's trying to pit them against each other. Like no, for some reason they work together. Yeah, because
Oh, and we'll get to that when we get to
yeah,
our best of list for sure. We can go to that.
yeah. Yeah. Also, Lord from No Worries. Oh, it was a
Ooh.
was this. I'll tell you, that was a very smooth listen. I was listening out the road. I was lying by the parlor, and I had my Bluetooth speaker, and I played that out loud.
Nice. Now we're talking about
This next one, R.I.P. to Brownsville Car, but Thief Next to Jesus.
Yeah. R.I.P. Ka. R.I.P. Ka. Yeah.
Unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that this has to be one of the last projects we hear from him, but very ominous, dealing with what he speaks about on this album about mortality and your presence in the world and whatnot. So that's another one. I think it's like anybody who wants to know about Brownsville Car, I think this will been one of his easiest albums to get into. Seeing it like you know how he has this very low kind of tone.
Yeah. Almost whispery the way how he raps. Yeah.
Like on this one, he's a little more audible because it's more like his punches were more for you to and need you to hear this. Like the message, you want you to get the message more than anything else. Another album that went, I'll say, from front to back, just listen to it whole way through is Raised in the Sand from Flea Lord.
All right.
That was a project caught me off because I'll be paying attention to when Flea Lord drops, and I was just browsing when I saw the album out, took it in, and I was like, yo, I think like Flea Lord, I'm expecting more from him in the future, but like Raising Sand from front to back, great project. Another one, this one hit me. Angel Eyes from Kenny Mason.
Didn't get a chance to listen to that. Ugh.
The thing is, because it dropped, I will lie, it dropped a little late because I heard a couple tracks from it, and I thought like, okay, wasn't this on 9? Because he dropped the mixtape 9, and I wait, no, he dropped the album Angel Eyes, because I had 9 on my list, and I saying that I'm taking Angel Eyes, and Angel Eyes was pretty good. Unfortunately, it still end up in honorable mentions, and my other honorable mention, which I wish made the list, was Movie from Your Old Droog. Because
ooh, I missed that one as well. I feel bad now. I feel bad.
Yeah, this one is probably one of his most personal albums, talking about how he came to America and like how he was afraid to like speak because his friends like first he didn't know how to speak English, learn how like a lot of migrant stories, learn how to speak through listening to hip hop. Talking about his family and how he is afraid to like let people know that he's Russian because apparently during that time it's still a stigma against the Russians coming to the country and whatnot. So, but the rapping was great. He had a good he put out a good like single. It was a kind of girls bop where he was like singing about it thought to be an imaginary woman, but like I get girls tune. Yeah. And well, that'll be for me for honorable mentions. I know there'll be a bunch that I probably didn't get to, like the Leon Thomas, because I went to like a lot of R&B that I listened to. I was trying to keep them separate, but I have a few on my list. But you know how it goes.
Yeah, you know how it goes. All right, so let's get into our top 15, right? So I will do 15 to 11. You do 15 to 11, and then you just sort of switch it. 10 to 6, sorry, and then wrap things up with 5 to 1, right?
Yeah.
So number 15, No Worries, Why Lord? Yeah, this was a fantastic sequel to Yes Lord. I didn't see this album coming, right? Even though they put out a few singles like the year before, like 86 Century and whatnot, right? One thing though, I just love the sound of it, right? It's like compared to what we got before, it's darker, right? It's a lot more somber in my opinion, right? But it's like when you really dig into lyrics, you kind of realize, oh, it's pretty much inspired by Anderson .Paak's, recent divorce, right? I could see it like throughout the record, or hear throughout the record, right? In the sense that, like in last record, it's like, what, I'm a player, I'm a pimp, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That kind of vibe. But this one is like that same player lifestyle kind of come back to bite him now. So just like, like where you have tracks, for example, like From Here, which was a great track, a great single actually, featuring Snoop Dogg and October London. And boy, the beats for this, the knowledge on them beats, boy. One thing I love about the beats though is they're so well produced. It was to the point where I was wondering, like, are you actually sampling this, or like you have like live instrumentation in the background or something? It was so like authentic now. That's the beats themselves, right? Very vintage, like if it's 70s soul or a little bit of 80s rock and whatnot, right? The production for this was on point, boy. And of course, Anderson .Paak is doing what he does best with the vocals and rapping and whatnot, though. But yeah, it's a much more mature follow-up to Yes Lord, boy. But it's just the deep emotion underneath it, though, that really worked for me, right? So yeah, love Wild Lord. Number 14. I'm hoping that this is one that's gonna pop up on your list. If it didn't, well, you're probably gonna laugh and say, "Oh, I don't remember. I had to put this in my honorable mention." Denzel Curry, King of the Mischievous South, Volume 2 / King of the Mischievous South, which is the deluxe edition of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Denzel Curry went back to his roots with this one. The whole Memphis, Tennessee 3-6 Mafia worship, the Lord Infamous production kind of style. Lord Infamous rapping, that Juicy J, DJ Paul production and whatnot. He went back to his roots for this one. Yeah. And the man just came through with banger after banger after banger after banger. I just love the fact that he put this thing out like a mixtape and then he just put it out like afterwards, like this full album, But it was grimy, it was unapologetically just rough and ignorant shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was that though.
Rev up.
Yeah, my two favorite tracks out of this though, there's the two that I always go back to. And I mean there's a lot of bangers in this, right? But to see Hot One, boy.
Yes.
Especially that beat
that beat's still in my head.
Yeah. I love that. And then when you hear that vocal, that fuck you, like us. He's a pug snap on this.
Yeah.
Tia Corinne, I never heard this.
Yes.
She's snap on this, right?
Yeah.
And then right afterwards, you get Black Flag freestyle, boy. That like, boy. This could be my song, This could be like that hands on one of the best songs I've heard all year.
Black Flag is the one that one is Big X or Mexican OT?
Mexican OT. And that song put me onto Mexican OT, right?
Yeah.
That man went in so hard on his verse, like, holy shit. That when I see the videos, like, I didn't know he used this big dude. You're like, okay. Yeah. But yeah. This album had the man just went back to his roots. He didn't care. It was just like, yo, I just doing me trip. I love it. I love this album, right? Up next, an album that I was put onto because, basically put onto through my Fiverr gig, Nordic One and Brycon, Duartes, right? This was where Nordic One, who is this West Coast rapper, he hooked up with a producer by the name of Brycon, and they basically did this concept album that is based around this simple virtual tour around this particular city. But basically, the whole vibe of it is just this guy who just trying to find his way, right? He just feels lost. He doesn't know where he's going in life, and he just sort of has to find his way, right? And for as short as this album is, well, technically it's an EP, right? I just love how emotionally driven it all is, right? I love how colorful and vibrant the beats are, and that's how Nordic One attacks each of these beats, right? With the exception of the intro and outro, of course, right? And yeah, we could all relate to this. You could all relate to moments where it's like, we just don't know where we're going, right? The title itself, Duartes, right, has to do with this particular restaurant, like this bar/restaurant, right, that literally has been in existence for over a century now, right? And just the idea of wanting to have something that will cement my legacy, when I die, right? Is these kind of existential themes that really, that really stood out to me on this record, right? So yeah, definitely check that out. I also did a review of that, so I'll put a link to it in the description to this segment here, right? Number 12, the most recent album that I listened to that made it to this list here, even though it hasn't been getting a lot of reception, and I feel like it just has to do with when it was released. I think that the December release date was a little too late in my opinion, though. But it still worked for me. It still genuinely worked for me. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, Missionary. This record really, really, really stood out to me, though. And it's going to relate to something else it's going to relate to my number 11, right? I just love the fact that it is these two veteran artists who, that's pretty much just doing something a little bit different, right? So the beats that Dr. Dre come with are not what you would expect from him, right? They are not, it's not 2001 beats, it's not the Chronic, it's not the Doggy Style beats, right? Even though technically this is a sequel to Doggy Style, hence the title. I like that Dr. Dre, is just basically saying, look, I just want to do something a little bit different, but it's still me. And when you hear it, it's still that top quality that you expect from me, right? And boy, Snoop Dogg was like, hey, what? That's the kind of beat you coming with? All right, cool. And the man literally wrote on this. Like, the man was spitting on this. He was writing on this, right? So, what I mean, right? Like, when it comes to Snoop Dogg, he always have this sort of like chill, laid back, almost freestyle kind of flow to things. You could tell like the man sat down and wrote shit and recorded that shit, right? You could tell like he really focused on this, right? And what we got out of this was just this nice, just this selection of just like these nice laid back bangers, like you get your bangers, but you get also your laid back cuts as well. I like that it harkens back to different genres like soul and a little bit of rock. You hear a little bit of country as well too. You hear a little bit of G-funk as well, but it's pure West Coast shit, right? It's not like they turn it back on where they're from. It's pure West Coast shit, but it's just different, right? So I absolutely love this record here, and I love the fact that just a few days ago, Dr. Dre was like, I got to put out the instrumentals, So, when you get a chance, you should really listen to the instrumentals as well. Okay, Dr. Dre did not disappoint on the production side, right? And number 11, speaking of artists coming and doing something a little bit different, LL Cool J, The Force. Right. This was LL Cool J coming back from however long the hiatus was. I just say, look, I could still spit, right? But when I hear the man team up with Q-Tip, like, Q-Tip, all right. I mean, me, Tribe Called Quest fan, greatest group of all time in my opinion, right? And what I love about this record too is, just the production, though. Like Q-Tip just say, just like Dre, here's what. All they know me for the jazz rap, all they know me for the neo soul, but I gotta come with something a little bit different. I was pulling from 80s electro and funk and whatnot, right? So yes, the beats on this do not sound like your traditional Q-Tip beats, right? But that's one thing I love about it. It was different. It was progressive, right? But it's one of those things, like if you're like a real a Tribe nerd, if you like listen to it really closely, you will hear like little things, like little elements that was like, that's a tip beat. That Q-Tip did that, right? But production wise, it's unlike anything I've heard from him, and I love it even more because of that. And LL Cool J did not disappoint on the lyric side of things, but the man, he sounded as energized as he did in his previous records, right? The man came through in 2024 and said, look, I still have it in me, right? I could still, put out solid songs, right? And I'll just make one last point I'm going to make here before we move on, right? Murdergram Dog, LL Cool J, Eminem, tag team. That was a dream tag team, right? And I mean, we all know Eminem is a huge fan of LL Cool J. So you can't even begin to imagine how happy he was to be on that track. And yes, LL showed that he could go toe-to-toe with M, though. You could tell, even when they hear that track, they were having a blast with this, right? So yes, absolutely love that record as well, too. And again, it just shows that, just like Dr. Dre and Snoop, even though LL and Q-Tip are in the 50s, they could still bring that heat. They could still bring that energy, right? And I love both records because of that, right? So that's my 15 to 11. So yes, Randerson, your 15 to 11.
All right, I just want to add on to what you're saying there, just so because there's a team that we might have look back in our retrospective of 2024 of this whole age thing with hip hop, because what people forget, well, rapping is an art form, right? It requires technique, free form, but at the same time, it's still an art form. And depending on your age, there'll be different things you'll be inspired from. Especially, and with age comes wisdom and experience. So that's why I think a lot of these older rappers, well, some of them are realizing, wait, if I still have the energy to create, why not create?
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
All right. For my number 15, and while we are on the topic of these old producers coming back, my number 15 is Jason Martin and DJ Quick, Chupacabra.
Ooh, okay.
And I'll tell you, this was really a West Coast year, because I think this album, I knew it was coming out, right? And I missed it when it dropped, because he did not drop it on streaming. He dropped it for sale fees, direct to consumer. That's how Jason Martin, that's his thing. Not his thing, but with Curtis King and whatnot, he understands the benefits of do it yourself. So, and then later on, then he played the streaming. And it's after played like Jason Martin, DJ Quick featuring the game, because game pops up here or there on this album.
But of course.
And it's like a lot of old school DJ Quick type beats. And it's like Jason Martin, formerly known as Problem, or also known as Problem, he goes through and he looks at different elements of this West Coast sound to put out. Whether it's something he could play in the whip, something he could just line on his block to, something that could hit the clubs, because he had a song with big hit on the game, Easy Call, because DJ Quick is actually rapped on it, because DJ Quick isn't really rapped on every song, but he rapped on Easy Call. Then you bring back guys like Sugar Free. When last anybody heard anything from Sugar Free?
I know, right?
He has a song called Workout with Lil Jon. Chupa's Groove with Thundercat, which is a little more groovy side. And he has a club song. And you know who's done this club song? Keith Renata. He has Ayo with Barney Bones and Keith Renata.
All right.
And that sounds like a house club kind of song. So it's like he tapped into these different kind of West Coast sounds, and I'll tell you, it was great. One of my favorite songs from this is the Easy Call and Meet the Whoops. And we'll be talking about Meet the Whoops as we go, because Jay Woody is part of Meet the Whoops, and I wouldn't say a young and upcoming rapper, but it's a name we'll jump back to called Hitter J3. We'll jump back to that name when we go back up in the list. All right, number 14. Please Don't Cry from Rhapsody.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy this. I would say, I'm a disclaimer, this is not my favorite Rhapsody album, but I am glad she made this, because
same here. Yeah.
throughout all her other albums, we haven't really heard much personals from Rhapsody. I think what these rappers kind of realizing is like, sometimes when you have the writer's block, you have to drop that personal album, get that out the way, get everything what inside the way, to get your creative juices flowing again. And I really enjoyed Please Don't Cry, the song Shout with Erykah Badu.
3 a.m. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a bop.
Asteroids, which was the leading single.
From Hit Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that was a really good song. I wish it got like a little more push. Stand Tall. I remember when the video for Stand Tall they dropped. That was a really, because Stand Tall is like, she's addressing a lot of her insecurities from what feedback she's getting. Yeah. And a lot of these topics she talk about her grandmother, what felt like losing her, about her sexuality and relationships with different people, and the questions about it, how she felt about it, how she thinks people will view her for it, and stuff like that. it's one of those like personal albums that you get to learn more about her a little better, and you get to relate to her more, which I really enjoyed that from her. Number 13, this this is an album I'm glad exists, which is Bryson Tiller, self-titled Bryson Tiller.
Right.
This one, it's just simple. It's just a poppy album, just a pop album with a lot of like nice sample flips, good features, Victoria Monet. Some of my favorite songs is like Attention, Ciao, because like Rich Boy, which is one of the first Rich Boy flips I heard for a long time until like this week. But yeah, Rich Boy, No Thank You, one of my favorite songs on this. Waterfalls, which sounds like a Frank Ocean song, and a lot of these radio friendly tracks. This is the kind of music I was expecting from Bryson Tiller before, because as you're going more into this wholly somber R&B, he kind of picked back up in Anniversary, and with this project, it kind of like let people know, hey, I could still make hits, I could still maintain a radio presence. And that is what we look for Bryson Tiller for. Like, he could give us the emotional, sappy stuff, the apologetic tunes, or give us something, we could just vibe to. And this is a more upbeat Bryson Tiller project, so I enjoyed this. Number 12, which might surprise people who don't know me or just slightly know me, and probably people who know my track record already. But number 12, The Death of Some Shady from Eminem.
Okay, coup de grace.
Yeah. I really enjoy this project. This is like I said, I think since there was Music to Be Murdered By, the last one I dropped before this.
Yes, it was.
Right. I enjoyed Music to Be Murdered By. I did not like the deluxe. Really, I didn't fancy deluxe.
Yeah, there was a little too much filler in that. A little too much. Yeah.
But there's some Shady, the whole storyline, the back and forth, the opportunity he gave himself to be immature, but at the same time, because this is where I realized the maturity. He allowed himself to be immature, but still did not cross the line like he would have before. I think that's safe to say. He tethered on the boundaries, but he didn't cross it the way he did before, because he starts to remember, right, you want to sell this music, and at the same time you could be edgy and not turn off people. Because remember, we have to remember that back when we was listening to Slim Shady from back in the day, the zeitgeist of our culture is we like enjoy kind of grossed out humor, the edgy stuff, right? And now, times changing, and we can't stop the way time changes, but you can either work with it or so he worked with what he had. Great rapping, like, well, I think this is one argument people had, and I'd say a slight agree with. Before Eminem, he got so focused in technique that he lost the feeling, the flavor, the humor that really made his music stand out. And he kind of brought it back a little bit. So it was, to me, it was a very enjoyable listen.
Right. Well, question before you move on, right? Because this is like some big, like people were speculating it, like after the fact, right? Do you think that Slim Shady died in Guilty Conscience too, or did he live on to the very end?
No, he lived on to the end, because he had to realize that this was just a part of him. You could kill off it's like it trying to make it sound like if he killed off a part of him, like if he split away, but in reality it's like it sounds like he wanted to do this so he wouldn't have to do it again. But as long as the thing is, he knows that Slim Shady is also part of him. So as long as he's still alive, Slim Shady is still alive. He can only do it for so long.
Yeah, because I erroneously thought, like, when I did my review of the album, which I did with Ricardo, by the way, I thought that Slim died at the end of that, and then the rest of the album was M. But there's, I forget which song, oh gosh, I think it's Bad One or whatever the name of it is. I think it's one of those tracks where he just pretty much say, yeah, Slim and them is the same person. So there's no getting rid of, either one. Yeah.
Yeah. But come to terms. It's like when we look back at some of the stuff we used to do at a younger age and realize how cringy it was. Yeah, it's cringy, but it's still part of us. It's still part of our history. So he can't get rid of some Shady. Some Shady is part of Eminem.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Number 11. Probably one of my favorite sounding albums. Even though it's solo on it, one of my favorite sounding albums this year. I Lay Down My Life For You from JPEG Mafia.
Ah boy.
Every year, or I shouldn't say every time this guy puts out music, he surprises me with how you could flip a sample. Or the lengths at which you could take it. Because like, I must laugh, like I really enjoyed all the Drake shots this.
Oh yeah. And even throw some shots at Freddie Gibbs too, like, oh, okay, bro.
Yeah.
That's what we on. All right.
this one side Drake beat he has. I don't know if it's one sided. I don't know if he probably has problems with Drake from work with Kanye. I don't know. But to me it was funny. And one of my favorite tracks from this is from somebody mentioned earlier, JPEG Ultra, that Denzel Curry and JPEG Mafia song. So I find like every beat or it's either scratching, this kind of hard thumping, vulgar display of power, ex-military. It's like, I'll come back eventually, but yeah, a lot of these tracks, like, and how he enunciates, how we make sure his production exists in one realm and his voice exists like on a different realm, and it meets you right in the middle.
Yeah, I like how you word that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you have more to add if you have something else, but for me, for that particular project, it's like that's the range of feelings I went through just listening to that project, the different instrumentals used, kind of risk his take when chopping samples and whatnot. I thought it was a great project, and I recommend it to anybody who, like, if you like grunge, if you like lyrics and grunge, I think like, or even pop. If you're a big pop fan, like, you could get into JPEG Mafia. So yeah, that's my 15 to 11.
All right, so speaking of JPEG Ultra, my number 10 is JPEG Mafia, I Lay Down My Life For You. Yes, you are absolutely right though, into the production. Like just when you thought that Scaring the Who's, right, which was my second favorite album of last year, by the way. Yeah, I like somehow he was just able to, kind of slightly outdo himself with that, right? JPEG Ultra is one of the best songs I've heard all year. Them horns, that like, I just have this dumb smile on my face every time they come in by. And when the strings come in for JPEG's verse by, that's when the song kind of elevates and become something more like heavenly, in my opinion, right? Because first it's just like jazzy shit, but then afterwards it just evolved into something heavenly, right? And boy, I can't really say who have the better verse in this though, because both Denzel Curry and JPEG snap on this though, especially JPEG when he comes in with that "this is the life, never dies." Like when he goes off, where it's like, what? And then the outro, he start taking shots at Freddie Gibbs. We're like, okay, this is where we at, right? But yeah, that's one of my favorite songs of the year, right? And yeah, you're right in terms of Jesse production, but dog, the man take a sample from this movie, this TV show. I forgot the name of it right now, right? But basically it's from the pilot episode of this, right? And it's just I Hear You Went Down. I just use this I Hear You Went down, and make this into like this club song. Though, like, what the fuck is this, right? And what I love about the production in this, right? And just the album in general, right? It could have just be, crazy, wild, experimental shit for the sake of it, all style but no substance. But there's actually a lot of substance in it as well too, right? JPEG Mafia just pretty much kind of saying, look, like, where I'm at in my life, Dread, I kind of focus on achieving my goals, but like this has not been an easy ride. I had to deal with a lot of shit, you know what I mean? And it's just him kind of being a little bit confessional, a little bit personal as well too, especially near the end when he starts talking about why the relationships that he was in just never work, right? You know, so there's a lot of like substance in it as well too, right? But it's easy to get lost in the wild, chaotic kind of production. I should mention this one last thing. I love how he tapped into rock as well too, right? You know, there's a lot of like guitar riffs and whatnot, right? And just one last song I just want to mention too. Like this is like my second favorite track on this though. You see, Sin Miedo.
Yeah.
That, and especially how you use that that Two Life Crew sample, that big booty hoes up with it. I think it's either Two Life Crew or Uncle Lou, like one of them two, right? And then especially when the chorus comes in, you just hearing that it's like, boy,
Two Life Crew,
boy. I love that song so much.
Yeah.
All right, so number 9. This is gonna be an album that I imagine a lot of people have never heard of before, but because I've been covering this guy's work for like past few years through my Fiverr gig, I have to show respect to him, right? So yeah, number 9, I have to give it to my boy CW France with CW France 9, right? So for those who don't know, he is a Chicago singer/songwriter. He's also within the ambient experimental genre when it comes to his music. And he has these series of self-titled records, right? Where, you know, it's always built around a particular theme. So either he will do some singing or he will just have it be like an instrumental only kind of release, right? So this one, what he did so well in this, right? And this is like throughout his music, he's always tapped into, you know, memory, nostalgia, you know, the past, right? So in this case, he's recalling this past relationship that he had, and which unfortunately didn't work out at all. But he just more or less recalling it, right? Just touching on the memories and all that kind of stuff, right? But what he does so well, though, is that he gives this sort of idea of, look, I'm going to make this music here, just pretty much expressing how I still feel about you. And I just hope that one day you are able to hear this, right? You know, it's simple, but it's very beautiful as well, right? And I just love the fact, too, that he was able to reach out to these guest performers as well, too, who, well, not on the vocal side of things, but more on the instrumental side of things, right? And just each and every contribution just adds so much to this very gorgeous, very heartfelt portrait that he's painting here, right? And fun fact, this is actually like the first Fiverr review I've ever done that I gave a full 10 out of 10 for, right? Yeah, to me, this is like his best album, like right now, right? Because he was just able to pull from everything that he's done over the past few years, right? And yeah, the end result was just a fantastic album, just a very heartfelt album, you know, on reflection and heartbreak and all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, this totally worked for me, right? Number 8, Rhapsody, Please Don't Cry. Yes, you know, just like CW France, I love how this album was very introspective, very personal, very deep. And I'm gonna say it right here, a little raw as well too, because yeah, Raw featuring Lil Wayne is one of my favorite tracks, one of my favorite songs of the year. Though I just love that beat, love that bop, that just the pianos in this too. And yeah, you know, I just love that. I just found this after, well, you know, like when I first heard the song, I went up on Genius and I found this out, right? Yeah, like Rhapsody had to like rewrite her verse like about 3-4 times because yeah, you know what Weezy brought to the table was just like, oh, that's where you going? Okay, cool. But this is the fact that you had to rewrite your verse though, just to match that, right? Yeah, I mean, and just what she came with the final result though was excellent, right? But I just love how deeply personal it was, how confessional it was, how she touched on, you know, her sexuality, on how she viewed the world, how she viewed herself, her, you know, her spirituality and all that kind of stuff, her womanhood, which is the most important aspect of it as well, too, right? And yeah, even though I am speaking as a man, I mean, I can listen to this stuff though and still feel that emotion, still feel inspired, still, you know, seek to, you know, learn more about myself, you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's deeply inspirational as well, right? But yeah, I can't say at the moment that this is my favorite Rhapsody record though, but this is easily top 3 as far as favorite Rhapsody projects, right? One of these days I really had to sit down and ask myself which record is my favorite, which one is my absolute favorite. At the moment I could say Layla's Wisdom is my top favorite, but this one is a close second, right? Or maybe if I listen to it a couple more times, sometimes I could see that this one is better than Leela's Wisdom, right? But one of these days I really had to sit down and do that, right? But yeah, hands down, Please Don't Cry is one of the best records from Rhapsody, bar none, right?
All right.
So number 7, as I said before, with the whole 2024 thing here, right? So Out of the Blue, right? My third favorite album of 2023 gets a deluxe edition release. And little context here, right? I had to build the tension. I had to build the tension a little bit, right?
All right.
So that third favorite album was built around a TV show that I did not get a chance to see. A little show called Snowfall. And even though I did not listen to the even though I didn't see the film see the show prior to listening to the album, I still love that album so much. I had to put it in my top 5, right? And I told myself after the fact I was going to watch Snowfall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of put it off. And then this deluxe edition dropped. I was like, all right, I need to watch the album. I need to watch the show. And then I will listen to the album. What I did, I listened to the album. I loved it so goddamn much. I was like, all right, cool. I'll go watch the damn show, right? So yes, you all know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Sky Zoo and the other guys, Mind of a Saint Deluxe Edition. Yes, this is a 2023 album, but he added extra songs to it, right? So let me paint the picture a little bit bigger, right? Let me paint let me paint things up a little bit more. Sky Zoo, still one of the most underrated rappers in the game right now, right?
Very much so.
Had the goal to say, here's what. Like for me, going into the original version without having seen the show, right? So basically, this was a 6-season show, right? And what he did with the standard edition was basically take the first 5 seasons and pretty much condense it and say, look, I just rapping about the first 5 seasons. I just rapping about where the lead character, Franklin Saint, is at this point, right? I love how ultimately how deceptive just how simple and deceptive the title is, right? It's really him rapping from the perspective of Franklin Saint, right? So he's not telling you the whole story. He's not covering the whole 5 seasons. He's more or less talking about like this is the stuff that burden me. This is the stuff that burden my soul right now. And I'm coming and I'm speaking this out on wax. I'm rapping to y'all. I'm letting y'all know how I feel about all this, the betrayals, all this stuff about selling drugs, in my hometown, all that kind of stuff. He puts that out there, right? And then in the deluxe edition, he decided, here's what. I gotta take the 6th and final season dread and make that the rest of the album.
Beautiful.
And I'll wrap up the story here, right? So I listened to the album, loved it, right? Loved it. I love the production from the other guys. It really came through. Sky Zoo lyrically crushed it, right? And then a few months before doing this list, I sat down and I watched Snowfall from season 1 to the very end, right? When the finale wrapped up, the series finale wrapped up, and I letting y'all know one time, right? This could have been number 1, as far as my favorite TV shows of last year goes by. That final season was near perfect in my opinion, and I would say that whole series, hands down, one of the best crime drama shows I have ever seen. And this is coming from a guy who loves The Wire. The Wire is my favorite TV show of all time. I love The Sopranos. I love Breaking Bad. And this show is up there, like one of the greatest TV shows I've ever seen. Yes, that is what I'm saying. Snowfall is one of the best shows ever, in my opinion, right? And after I watched that finale, Randerson, I sit down and I listen to the album from start to end.
Yeah.
I was like, boy, Sky Zoo, you killed it with this shit. Like, the man sum up everything about, like, the whole mind. And that's, again, going back to the title, right? Is the mindset behind it all, though. This is the idea, like, look, this is why I do what I do, But I love how with the deluxe edition, well, this extra CD's worth of tracks that we get here, things get even darker, right? Because what happens in the 6th season, without spoiling too much, is that his family pretty much separates from him, right? His aunt and uncle decide to separate from him. They decide to sell drugs as well too, right? Because similar to Frank Lucas on American Gangster, he had to bring his family involved, right? Yeah. And shit goes goes downhill from there, right? And then even worse now, the guy who was supplying him drugs, who was this white CIA agent, turn on the man, right? And now they like he out for his head and all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, shit gets really, really dark in that final season, right? And how Skyzoo was able to convey that on this album here, boy, was fantastic, right? I will confess though, it is one of those albums where you had to be like, if you're familiar with the show, you will know the references, right? You will hear like a little cue, like a little snippet or a little sound effect or whatever, and you'll be like, oh, I know where this is from, right? But even if you never saw the movie, if you never saw the show, you will still understand from the mood of the album, from how Skyzoo raps, what he's rapping about, to how the beats sound and whatnot, right? You will kind of still get a sense of what's going on. There's two things I just want to mention, right? Give You Anything, boy, is one of the best songs I've heard all year, boy.
That's the song with his mom?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
And then,
yes.
What I love do is like when you hear the moment, because the vocal snippet, slight spoiler, is from the finale, right? When you see the finale and how that plays out, you understand why it plays like that, right? But then hearing Skyzoo playing Franklin, be sympathetic for like the first time in his life and be like, look, I pretty much mess all their lives up, especially my mom's life. I messed your life up so much because I was chasing this whole drug thing, this whole money thing, Jenna. Look at where you're at, right? Not gonna spoil anything beyond there, right?
Yeah.
And boy, when you hear the vocals and then, well, what he's rapping about, right? And then that beat in the background, it's close to man tears eyes get, especially when them strings coming, boy, it's like, ooh, boy, dog, I'm feeling this now, feeling this in my soul, right? And then the Freedom Dance, the final track in this, boy, is like the perfect album close-up, right? Because it's just so brutally ironic and dark, right? Because yeah, this is the downfall of Franklin scenes, right? This is where this character ends up at the end, and then when you hear it's like, yeah, boy, you deserve every bit of that, boy. Talk about karma coming back to bite you in the ass, so it's great, right? But yeah, hands down, this is one of the best concept albums I have ever heard in my life, and this is based off of one of the best TV shows I have ever seen, period, right? So yes, I can't recommend this album enough, and I can't recommend watching Snowfall enough, boy, but I had to put this up there, right? And last but not least, just getting into number 6, boy. Let me just try to sing it, right? Ahem. Chromacopia. Yep, Chromacopia is my number 6, boy. Yep, Tyler came through with a great album with this too. I still like one thing about him though, all right? I love that even though he is in his 30s now, he still have that beautiful energy, that irreverence, and that creativity when it comes to his records, right? Because yeah, I still don't know what chromacopia mean. I think he invented that word for the album. Yeah. I don't know who St. Chroma is, or if he relates at all to the album, because I hear mostly Tyler on this land, not like him playing a character like Ego, for example, right? But yeah, boy, but I will confess, right? I still slightly enjoy Call Me If You Get Lost a little bit more than this, but that was because the album came at just the right time for me, especially with my mom's death and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. But Chromacopia here was just like, look, I'm in my 30s now. I'm still trying to figure out my way. He frames it in terms of, his mom kind of telling him that he needs to settle down, but at the same time, she warned him about being careful with women and, people who want to use you and all that kind of stuff. So you get great tracks like Judge Judy and Hey Jane. Like I love the storytelling on Hey Jane. That was brilliant, right? The beats though, he did not disappoint on this though. And still him just being a little bit more daring, a little bit more experimental, right? Especially on the track Paranoid though. Like like I would have never think you would have hear like an African vocal sample on this, right? And just how he flipped that beat with the guitar riff with that right, and that's how he did that, boy. And then of course the beat switch in the second half, boy. I love that, right? And yeah, again, just challenging himself, just always doing things a little bit different, always stepping out his comfort zone, right? And as I mentioned before, I didn't expect to like this track so much. The first time I heard it, I was like, this could have been better, boy. But the more I think about it, I was like, yeah, this really slaps, boy. Sticky Dread. Yeah, this man somehow, I don't know how he did this, right? Got Sexy Red, Glorilla, and Lil Wayne to be on a track with you, Dread. And then had the balls to bring out a fucking marching band near the end. I'm like, Tyler, what are you doing, Jay? Why are you doing this to me, Jay? Why are you doing this to my ears, dog? Why are you doing this, right? But yeah, ultimately, I just love the fact that it was him kind of just talking about, this is me right now. I still trying to find my way, but look, I am comfortable in my own skin. I want to live life on my own terms. I'm not settling down right now, but I still want, because I still have much more I want to do with my life from the music and all that kind of stuff, right? Will I settle? I don't know, maybe, you know what I mean? But I'm not in a rush, right? And I love that. And there's even more things going on outside of that as well, too, right? But yeah, fantastic album. Had to put this in my top 10.